I'm a grandpa with technology, man. I'm like the worst with it, so
you and me both.
I'm trying to find like the most user-friendly thing possible.
Yeah.
And
GoPros and Canons, that's all I've ever used. My brother's got a couple Sonys. He was into photography a little bit. But yeah, man, sweet. So let's jump in here so people know who I'm talking to. I'm rolling there. So I just roll a little intro, nothing too fancy.
Sounds
here.
good.
So back with another episode of the podcast. Got a new guest sitting in front of me. Made the journey all the way over from Florida's west coast of Florida. The host of FloridaMan Fishing on YouTube, Eli Brown. Thanks for doing this,
All right,
man.
absolutely. I'm happy to be on, man.
Pleasure to meet
excited.
you, dude. Yeah, I'm excited too, man. I have so much fun trying to think about who to bring on here and talk about, and fishing has been a subject of mine that we like to discuss on here, and something I've been doing my whole life. So I think we'll find a few things to connect on. So let me start here. Obviously, Florida just had, especially on the West Coast, hurricane came through. Everything okay over there at home in Crystal River, or how'd you fare?
Yeah, so I fared pretty fine. I live in like just south of Crystal River, Homosassa. I live a little bit higher up off sea level.
Okay.
So my house didn't flood. But the whole city of Crystal River was like 4 feet underwater.
Dang.
And so I am going to be out of work for the next probably 3-4 weeks, probably even a little bit more than that.
What do you do for work?
I am a manatee swim guide in Crystal River.
I have seen a video of you swimming with manatees. I didn't know you were a swim guide for that. That's unique.
Yeah, I've decided I'm not going to be posting too many manatee videos because, you know, There was a period where I had posted a video, and then I was going on a trip to California, and then I was going, I forget what, it would basically be like a month in between videos. And so I decided like the easiest thing for me to do would be to post a swimming with the manatees video, because I was like, dude, people love manatees. You know, we get people from all over the world coming here.
Come in there just to see them.
But what I failed to realize is that YouTube, once it kind of finds your viewer base, it recommends those videos to people. And fishermen are the nemesis of manatees. Fishermen hate manatees. And so I think that was probably the worst video I've ever posted. It has, I think, right now, less than 70 views in like, well, it's been like 2 months or something. It's crazy.
Why are fishermen the nemesis? You would think it's the other way around, that manatees are the nemesis of fishermen, but why?
I think fishermen are still salty that they can't eat them. And I'm...
okay.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
Hey.
I wonder what manatee tastes like.
You don't almost go extinct because you taste bad. That's what I'm saying.
Interesting. The only thing you ever hear about manatees is boats hitting them, and obviously no wake zones and stuff. So I get that. So, man, I have never thought about eating manatees before. Yeah. I bet it's delicious.
I'm sure it is. I know
sea cow, man.
They're really low body fat, surprisingly, because they look like a ball of blubber. But yeah, they're like 3 to 5%. They're super lean. So.
Damn, there's got to be somebody that's been eating some of those things that we could ask how good it tastes, because that's usually my next question about things like that, is I wonder what it tastes like.
I know, right?
Yeah, okay.
1 million subscriber, catch clean cook, man. When I'm like 90 years old, man, if I get arrested, I won't be in jail for that long.
That might get you banned from YouTube. They might have some strikes come against you for that one. Yeah. So the first video I saw of yours, man, the YouTube algorithm put you in front of me. It was the mullet run video where you caught some massive snook, dude. How big was that thing?
I have no idea.
Didn't measure it?
Probably close to 40, probably 38, 39. That thing was
huge.
That was my biggest snook for sure. I've never caught one that big. Yeah.
Dang, man.
The West Coast, they don't make snook like they do on the East Coast, man. They are just on steroids over here.
Okay.
And especially during the mullet run, when they're just gorging themselves on bait, like they are massive.
Yeah, and I have so my fishing journey is more freshwater. I've been chasing largemouth bass all over. I grew up in Orlando, just been coming out here to the coast for forever. But all my saltwater stuff has been surfing. So anytime I come over here, shoot right over the rivers and just come out here and surf. But my uncles and my dad and a lot of my family members are like the dudes that catching snook off the beach and tarpon off the beach and stuff like that. And I fished the rivers here, like Mosquito Lagoon, once. So I've caught one snook in my life, dude. And it was like little baby.
That's awesome.
But I'm committed to continuing to learn saltwater fishing, and trying to get more into it and keep surfing as much as I possibly can. But the older I get, I'm like, I need more hobbies, and saltwater fishing is one of them. So I think that's why the algorithm's pushing guys like you in front of me to be able to watch what you're doing, man.
I think so. That's awesome. Hey, you're on the right coast for surfing, man.
Yeah, man.
Awesome over here.
Yeah. You ever surf much? And or have you ever surfed before? Let me ask you that.
I have once. I used to. So I grew up in California, actually.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I grew up in Southern California, and I was always like boogie boarding and stuff. I was always a wimp. I was scared of the waves and stuff. But I tried surfing once, and I didn't take to it. But I would love to try again. It sounds a whole lot like a whole lot of fun.
It is a whole lot of fun, but I tell people you should be a little scared of the ocean for all kinds of different reasons. A lot of people think, sharks first and foremost, but I think more so drowning, rip currents, and just getting tired and not knowing what to do and panicking is when people
rip
get
currents,
in trouble.
That gets a lot of folks.
Yeah. Oh man, such a sad story. There was a family in Vero Beach just to the south of here, like maybe 2 months ago, like two husband and wife and maybe 4 or 5 kids. The husband and wife got caught in one, drowned. The kids made it back in. Could you imagine?
That's terrible.
Damn, it's sad to even talk about. But could you imagine leaving the kids on the beach like that? Crazy. But
that's unbelievable.
Yeah, not to bring it to a down place real fast, but no, it is true. Rip currents can cause a lot of problems, but man, they are kind of useful for surfing because the hardest part of surfing, I've always said this, is paddling out and being in the right spot, especially on bigger days or hurricane days or whatever. So, you can use a rip current almost to your advantage to pull you out a little bit faster, and you have to use less energy paddling and stuff like that. But you got to kind of know what you're doing so you have to get in and out of it. But you will have to surf sometime, man. And then the west coast of Florida is one where I have yet to surf. So I track everything. But there's some waves over there when hurricanes come through, which I'm sure was bombing with this last one.
Post-hurricane, there was quite a bit of chop there. But majority of the days it is just glass calm, which it's nice for fishing because you can kind of tell what the bottom's looking like without having to actually go out there and check it out yourself. When there's waves breaking far out, there's a sandbar out there, and if there's calm water in front of that, there's a trough. You can cast into that trough. There's usually flounder or something like that.
Nice.
But the East Coast, it reminds me a lot of California. Just the rough surf. The Atlantic is a lot like the Pacific in that way.
Definitely.
It's a bit colder too than the Gulf. 100%.
Yes. But the Pacific, the cold of that is no joke. I was out there in January surfing San Diego, a couple spots, and wetsuits are rated in millimeters. I had a 3 mil, should have had a 4. But the worst part is putting a cold wetsuit on in the morning before the sun comes up. Sucks, man. Sucks.
I rock a 6.
Oh, really? Oh, what, for manatee diving?
And the funny thing is the water stays the same temperature all year. It's 72 degrees.
Are you in the springs?
I am, yeah. Kings Bay.
Okay.
That's the one place that you're allowed to legally, I guess, swim with the manatee. You're allowed to swim with them, and you're even allowed to touch them, although we don't let people touch them on the tours. Because it's legal to touch them, but it's illegal to harass them, which is a really fine line.
I was gonna say, who's judging harassment?
Basically, if that manatee swims away or not is the way you tell. So we just don't let people touch them. We got the largest natural aggregation of the manatees there in the world, and that's simply just because of the springs there. We have hundreds of springs in the bay. They pump out around 600 million gallons of fresh water a day.
Damn.
And those springs are a constant 72 degrees all year.
And people travel all over to come see those manatees, I bet.
A lot of foreigners, a lot of Europeans. Europeans love manatees,
love
man.
The sea cows,
man.
All right.
It's crazy. But even in that 72 degree water, man, I get so cold. I gotta put on 20 pounds before winter, otherwise I'm gonna die. But
So you're prepping for winter?
I gotta put on 10 pounds or something.
Nice, man. Keep you warm in that cold water. The manatees come in over here some too, in our rivers, and then Sebastian Inlets, where I've kind of been. There's a tidal pool in there where they'll sometimes come in. I can remember as a kid, I grabbed a hold on one. Just talking about you now vividly brings it to memory, and it kicked me off like I weighed, like I was a sheet of paper, dude. The strength of those things.
Dude, they're all muscle.
Man.
It's crazy.
And then the scaredest I've ever been in the ocean was actually from a manatee. I'm sitting there in the break, just waiting for the next wave right there at the inlet, and they must have been cruising in and out. And he comes up behind me and takes a big breath of air and just scared the shit out of me, dude. Like I hear like something just in the background. I wasn't even thinking of it. And he was maybe here to the door away, but that's the scariest I've been in the ocean is from a manatee.
Wow. Yeah. Manatees, when they sneak up on you, man, nobody understands how stealthy a 2,000-pound potato can be until the water's a little murky and they look like a rock and they just come up right behind you.
And you have no idea. You see this blob moving towards you. You have no idea what to think.
And even the people that are like expecting it, like the people on tours, they don't know what a manatee looks like underwater until they stick their face in the water. They're like, holy crap, like that thing, 2,000 pounds, that's a big animal.
Heck yeah, man.
And I've had people like, they pay money to see these things and they get in the water with them and they're like, no, I'm not doing it. And so I just have to like drag them over and I'm like,
you'll be fine.
Yeah, because they're the nicest animals on the planet. Like they don't have a mean bone in their body. Their brains are actually like underdeveloped to where they can't feel fear or aggression or anything because they don't have any natural predators.
Other than us, I guess, other than our boats.
Right.
And
other
cold,
than fishermen,
and cold,
right?
right? They don't like, they get messed up in cold.
Yep, that's why they go to the spring so much is that's like 4 degrees higher than like what would kill them basically out in the Gulf. So.
And stays constant, doesn't change with the seasons. Yeah, that makes sense why they would hang out there. When I think of Crystal River, the only thing that anyone ever talks about that I know of is like scalloping over there. Isn't that big on that side of town?
That is. Yep. Crystal River, Homosassa, up to like Steenhatchee. That is like prime scalloping territory.
Nice.
It has been like, I guess like degrading over the last few years just because so many people are going scalloping. And it's like they're just every single day during scalloping season there's hundreds of boats out there.
Dang.
And it's gotten worse every year. I think eventually they're gonna have to start regulating it some like a little bit stricter.
It's unregulated now. You can get as much as you want.
You can get, I believe it's like a 5-gallon bucket per boat. Or I guess it's like 2 gallons per person, 5 gallons per boat, whichever is greater. But yeah, that is it's not sustainable. Really.
Okay, too many people know about it now. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, got it.
Dang social media.
Damn social media. There are a lot of videos about it. I think you have a video on it, don't you? Yeah, I
do.
Think I've seen you out there doing it, but it seems like something you could really do with the whole family. Whether you have a boat or know somebody with a boat. So it seems like versus like lobstering in the Keys, I think they're a little bit more challenging. This is what one of my buddies was telling me. But he takes his little kids out there, and you can see him diving and scooping up scallops. I'm like, that looks fun for the family to do. And they're 100%. Good eating too, right?
Yep. Yeah, my mom loves scalloping. That's about the only thing she likes doing on the boat other than drinking. Nice. I'm kidding. Nice. I like
just joking, Mom.
She's gonna hear that. She's gonna be so mad at me. But
nice. Yeah.
But my little brother loves doing that too. Nice. He's not as into fishing as I am. Unless he knows if he goes out he's catching fish, he doesn't want to do it. So.
Yeah, a lot of people have that side of fishing where I just enjoy being outside, man, and the challenge of it. And sure, it's better to catch things, but dude, I can have almost equally as much fun just enjoying the process of it, which I think is better about it than being upset you're not catching anything.
Right.
How'd you start fishing, man? Did you fish in California?
I started fishing, so in California. I've been fishing basically my whole life. Fishing in California, it's not great. There's some like private lakes where bass fishing is pretty good. But I grew up like trout fishing in little streams in the mountains, which was so much fun. And that's still probably some of my favorite fishing, even though you're only catching like 6 to 8 inch fish. Like they're real small. But it's like they're a challenge to catch because they're really smart and they know what's real and what's not. So like fly fishing and stuff for those things, man, that's so much fun.
Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun, man. Yeah, that makes sense that they're a little bit more, they have a lot of predators, right? Obviously, being a trout. So yeah, they got to know their surroundings a little bit more, but they can tell baits a little bit better than, okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people that don't know about trout fishing, they'll go up there trying to throw like the trout magnets for native fish. Because, trout magnets for stocked fish, that's pretty, like they'll eat basically anything, like those bright pink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the bright pink worm things that are like maybe 1.5 inches, almost like a crappie jig. The stock fish will eat those a lot, but the like native browns and brook trout, like they only want flies. So fly fishing was a bit of a learning curve, but I definitely got the hang of it. And saltwater fly fishing is still something that I'm interested in. I know a guy who does a lot of that.
Nice.
But I grew up trout fishing in the streams. I went bass fishing with my dad a lot. We never caught anything, but it was just I just love being out there, man. Even when I wasn't catching anything.
Yeah, man.
And so I grew up doing that.
Nice.
and I was just addicted to it, even though I wasn't catching anything. So I was looking up YouTube videos of like fishing videos, and Blacktip H was the first one I came across, and I saw him catching Goliath grouper and sharks, and that just blew my mind, because I had never caught a fish bigger than like 1 pound, and I was like, dude, this thing's
you
like
see a Goliath grouper.
No, it was like I was shocked that those things even existed. So immediately I was like, that's what I want to do. Like I want to go to Florida. I don't care if I'm living in a van or something. I probably might end up living in a van, I'm not sure, but dude, I just want to catch fish, man. It's my favorite.
So did you move here on your own, or did your whole family move down?
Whole family. I convinced them to move here, which they're mostly happy about.
Mostly happy.
Mostly happy. They were dead set on moving to Tennessee for a while, which that Tennessee is nice. They got good trout fishing up there. The deer hunting is phenomenal. But I just want to be by the beach, and I just said, like, I don't really care where the family moves, because no matter what, this is where I'm ending up. Like, this is where I want to be.
Nice.
And at first, they had all the excuses, like, it's humid and there's bugs, and of course, which all apply to Tennessee. But those are the first things that come to mind when you think of Florida, especially when you've never really been to Florida before.
Sure. Did y'all think about hurricanes much, or
not much? I guess it came to mind 100%.
Sure.
But no, we just tried to find an area that, like, if we lived there, it wouldn't get affected too bad. So we're close to the coast. I think we're like 10 minutes from the Chassahowitzka, but we're not close enough to where we're like at sea level.
So or where you got to worry about like storm surge and stuff like that. You just got to worry about rain and wind and the other stuff, hurricanes.
And we're like surrounded by trees and stuff too, so the wind is never terrible. I mean, we only lost power for like maybe 6 hours at night
during this last one.
And we never lost cell service or anything. Like, it was pretty good. A lot of people got like really affected bad around us in our area, so it was tough to see.
That thing was nasty, man. And I track both the West Coast and East Coast waves, see what's coming, see if I'm gonna make the drive over and bring my son one of these days over there to surf. But that one went from a Cat 1 to a Cat 4 in like 12 hours. The thing was booking like 23, 26 miles an hour, something like that. I'd never seen a storm grow that fast, and I've been watching them for 30 freaking years, man. So that was pretty crazy to see. And then I think that's what brought a lot of that storm surge over to the West Coast, and then that thing moved up into like Tennessee or up into Georgia as a Cat 2. So they got in some trouble up there even too from this last one.
I saw like Asheville, North Carolina, that got hit so hard. There was like massive flooding that was going on there.
Someone was telling me that Teslas were catching on fire over in Tampa or like Clearwater, because I guess the water got into the batteries if your Tesla's on charging station in the carport or whatever. And then I saw a few house fires. I was like, why are they on fire? And someone was like, oh, it's because of Teslas. I'm like, I didn't fact check that.
I guess that makes sense. The electric cars. I mean, I've got my family has an electric car.
Tesla.
It's a Nissan Leaf. And that thing, it's been on its last legs for a long time. I can basically make it to Crystal River and back.
Nice.
But that thing, I think we got in California just because of the benefits. It was like all the write-offs and stuff. It was just like worth it. But the problem with those things, man, is the batteries are like more expensive than a whole car.
Right.
Because we were saving all this money, not buying gas, and then the first time we had to replace the battery because one cell went out of like 100, and apparently you can't replace a cell. You have to buy a whole new battery, and it was gonna be like $8,000 or something. I think we got it down to like 4,500 or something. Wow, it was like wild.
That's that. I have been in a Tesla. I don't own one, and one of my my company car is a hybrid, so it does both. It's got 2 electric motors and then a regular 4-cylinder gas motor too. But they're pretty cool. They seem real torquey. They seem fun. But long distance, I would worry. I see people in like those Tesla charging stations. I'm like, man, how long have they been sitting there, like staring at their phones or walking around or whatever? But I think. I always wonder the cost of them for sure. But then what happens to the batteries in the long term? Like if you change out that battery, where does it go? Go sit in a landfill somewhere? So sometimes I question how eco they actually are.
They're not very eco at all. I mean, in order to make a battery like that, it produces way more carbon dioxide than a gas car,
a regular gas car.
Especially a newer gas car when they have a lot lower emissions.
And just pulling metals out of the ground is the same thing as pulling fossil fuels out of the ground. I mean, you're extracting something so we can get around in vehicles. Us talking monkeys here.
Right.
Have you seen any of the electric stuff they're doing on like boats? I've seen like electric outboards start to come out.
I have. Yeah, and those things, they are pretty cool. I've seen one of them. There's a guy that puts around Kings Bay. He has like a popsicle boat, like just a little. It's literally just a circle that he sits on top of with a motor on it.
Nice.
Selling popsicles out there, but they're
like a real popsicle. Like thinking, what's a popsicle?
No, they sell out popsicles every single day because they sell like the alcoholic ones.
Oh, that's probably big business.
They're like $12 a popsicle or something. But the people out on their boats, man, they want them. They can't get enough of them.
Nice.
But yeah, those electric motors, they are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would ever get one just for like, I don't know. They're just not reliable. It's too new of a technology to hop on board right away, especially with like, you can't really repair them as well as you can a gas motor.
Right.
Like I understand gas motors fairly well. And if there's ever a problem, typically me or my dad can fix it.
Yeah.
But I'm just, electric motors.
Lot simpler, man, from like a traditional outboard. Yeah, that's gas driven versus the electric. And then even the car. So I went to jump somebody in that car I was telling you about the other day. There's no battery up front. I'm like, oh yeah, because it's got 2 electric motors and the battery system's all underneath. So you can't even jump somebody in some electric vehicles.
That's so weird.
I was like, I'm carrying jumper cables in here for no reason. I keep them in my truck just in case, you ever got to jump somebody. But I learned that the hard way. Showed up, tried to help this lady out, popped my hood. I'm like, I look like an idiot. I can't even find the battery. And then I had to look it up. I'm like, oh yeah, I can't jump anybody from this electric vehicle.
Oh, and was it a full electric or was it like a hybrid?
So my hybrid, the hybrid. Okay. Yeah, it runs off the electric battery underneath the car. But the electric trolling motor interests me a little bit. I don't know if I would want like my main motor to be electric to that point that you made, but the electric trolling motors look like they've come a long way, at least over the last few years. And then they got to electric wakeboard boats too now. You've seen these things?
Oh yeah.
Dude, like it's so cool. Quiet. One of the cool things about electric is just like whisper quiet. Have you ever seen like the electric dirt bikes too?
I think so. Yeah, those things are nice.
So I grew up with a guy that raced motocross. I've had dirt bikes my whole life and kind of switched to side-by-sides here as I get older. We have 4-wheelers too that my kids like to play on. But those electric dirt bikes, man, when people get on there, it's like an ear-to-ear grin because no one can hear you coming. They look a lot of fun. I might have to get one of those.
Dude, those things are awesome. Is it what kind is it? Is it a...
I think a lot of the even the major ones are making them now. I don't know if Honda has one yet. Yamaha has one, and they ran it against like their 450 class in Supercross and did pretty well.
Wow,
I think can hold its own. It's just weird to only hear the chain.
Right.
It's different. It's different, some of that electric stuff. But I'd rely on that more than I would be, out in the river, out off the coast, relying on an electric motor. Yeah, no, I don't think I would get behind that. Yeah. The thing about your videos, man, that I like the most, it just seems like you're having a lot of fun, too. Is that, I'm sure, part of your goal or why you even decided to, pursue this as a hobby of yours to have some fun out there?
Man, that is the one thing that I would do more than anything else, just going out and fishing, man. It's just, I've just had a passion for it my whole life. I never really knew where it would go. Of course, like, hindsight's 2020. Looking back on it, I know that, God was using all the decisions I was making to get toward this.
Nice.
Before, I wanted to be like a marine biologist or something. Okay. I knew I wanted to do something with like nature and wildlife. Yeah. But I'd rather be out on a boat catching the fish than, like writing paperwork about them. And,
True. Yeah. I think, that appeals to a lot of people, especially now, because there's tons of people filming their fishing. If you can get good at that and you're a good fisherman, then you can produce content that people seem to be into. So then there's some revenue streams you can make based off of that. So I get the call, man. It's a lot of fun, and dude, I think it's important for people to have hobbies. I got a lot of friends. I got a team of people that work for me too, not on this, on another side, that have no hobbies, man. And I'm just like, I don't know. It seems to be a better way to live life, to have hobbies and things that keep you interested.
No, 100%.
Yeah, man. I'm sometimes envious of how much time people have to do certain things, but fishing is one of those ones, man, that if you put the time in, it's rewarding. It's rewarding for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then you're doing this thing that I saw where you're trying to catch like every fish species in Florida. Yep. How did that come about?
So for a while, I was just trying every single like idea I could to see what would work with short form content. Cause I don't know. I don't get it as much, just like that really quick kind of video. So I was trying a bunch of different stuff. Nothing was really working. And I just had this idea, like, if I go out fishing and I catch absolutely nothing except like maybe I like snag a needlefish or something, and it's just like a terrible day. What can I do with that to like make a video about it? And this was what I came up with, where I can go out and I can catch one fish. Like I don't need to go out and catch a bunch of fish and make it real epic. Like I just need one. And just kind of document what I'm doing with it, what lure I'm using, what area I'm fishing in, what time of year, like just the kind of helping people out, say like, how they can catch fish like that. Like that mullet run one, I wasn't at anywhere special. I was at Jupiter Inlet, right by the swim area down on the south side. And I was just standing up on the rocks, just waiting for fish to come by. And every time fish would come by, I would throw something at them, and eventually, what worked.
Nice.
But yeah, that was definitely a sort of a turning point for my channel. That was really started like kind of getting it off the ground.
Nice.
I think I went from like 350 subscribers to like close to like 900 in like a couple months, like, which was unbelievable to me because I'd been doing it for maybe 4 or 5 months before that, and it had been pretty slow. But yeah, with catching every fish in Florida video I post, I'll get anywhere from like 50 to 80 subscribers from those, and that's definitely what has drawn the most attention to my channel too. Like going fishing with the big man bassing down in Cape Coral, like it's definitely opened a lot of doors for me. So it's been pretty awesome.
That makes sense, because if you're out there, rolling, cameras, catching footage, it's not always going to be, a 7 to 20 minute, video that you're going to put more of a long form. And there are a lot of people that like that short form kind of stuff. It gets a lot of eyes out there. That's clever, man. Clever way to use your footage and not feel like you're wasting it, I guess, because I'm sure you film a lot of things and don't ever end up using it. Yeah,
I've filmed a few videos that I've ended up just trashing because it was just like either the wind noise was terrible, or I just wasn't, I wasn't into it, wasn't talking to the camera, and it just wasn't like entertaining. But the short form thing, I've definitely gotten the hang of it, I think, to where you're just like you're just trying to catch as many eyes as possible, really, like just like a really like quick hook at the beginning to get people's attention, and then just like something short and sweet, get them on board. Definitely there's definitely been a change where people are moving sort of away from the longer form content, or at least they're not clicking on something that is like new to them, because they're getting anything new they want, quick, just to see if they like it. So the shorts and the reels have definitely been boosting quite a bit.
Nice.
So I think I've been trying to do a little bit of everything, in a sense, where like I'm still making the long form videos. I try to post one a week. It never happens. There's always like maybe one every 2 weeks, and then a couple here and there. But as long as I can stay consistent with the short form, typically people will move from the short form. They'll follow or subscribe or whatever, and then they'll see those long form videos, end up clicking on them. And it's just kind of like trying to get viewers from every like angle I can.
Nice, man. And you're thinking about it more of a business mindset almost. How can you catch a little bit, maybe not necessarily from a monetary and money standpoint, but just growing it, right? And obviously having fun with it. But I can relate to something you said there about not wanting to talk to the camera, because I have been, dude, I probably filmed like 50 freshwater videos. My goal of that was to see as many spots as I could document from a freshwater standpoint, and then keep trying to find. So I caught a 10 pounder when I was like 10 or 11. It's mounted on the wall. It's going to go in the new studio upstairs, and I've kept it the whole time, but I've never caught another 10 pounder. And so that was my goal when I kind of took a break from actual working, and I was like, I'm just going to fish a bunch and try to find another 10-pound bass. Never did. I was still chasing those things on artificial this time. I caught that last one on a shiner, which was great. But yeah, I gotten close. A couple 6-pounders on camera, upper 6s. Got one 7-pounder on camera, and just these little tiny spots, man. I have this 10-foot John boat that I put an 8-foot deck on, and I paddle it like a stand-up paddleboard. I put a motor on it. We have a little 5-horse Merc, so if I'm somewhere big, I'll put that on. But most of the time, I'm just dropping it in small little highway ponds or even big lakes, man. Just paddling that thing around doubles as a workout is kind of how I look at it too.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's pretty fun, man. And I've enjoyed bass fishing since I was a kid, man. It's definitely probably my longest running hobby.
Really?
It took like a serious amount of time off, starting a family and working, trying to make money, those kind of things. So now I'm at the point where I'm trying to stay in tune to what I liked as a kid, and that's where bass fishing comes in and where surfing comes in, and saltwater fishing is going to come in here as soon as I dedicate some time to it. But yeah, man, but I had a hard time talking to no one, right. and thinking like, I got a mic on here, I got a camera behind me, I got a camera on here. The footage I love, but I think my one regret is I probably should have talked more, because I think a lot of the channels I like, guys like you, man, you got a cool story, you're entertaining to listen to. I think sometimes people get hooked on like the character almost to an extent, if that makes any sense.
100%. Yeah, a lot of the guys I follow, there's some good channels. Some of them aren't great, but a lot of them I watch just for the guys. Like they're cool to listen to. They're interesting.
Exactly.
I've gotten to meet a few of them, and they're pretty cool. I like them. Yeah. But yeah, that's one thing I try to do with every post is just like figure out what I did right in a video, what I did wrong, and then just trying to fix that. Maybe talk to the camera more in a video, maybe have it on the fish a little bit longer before I release it, stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, talking to the camera, that was weird, man. Yes. Especially like I looked back on my first video, because my first video I didn't know what I was doing, man. I recorded like a really short intro at the beginning, and all it was like, hey guys, what's going on? This is what I'm doing today. Hope you enjoy. And I remember looking back on that took me like a half an hour to film, because every time I filmed it, I was like, man, that just doesn't sound right. Like I'm talking to nobody right now. Yes. It was weird. It was weird. Yeah, but I think I'm starting to get used to it a little bit. I can't say that I'm 100% on board yet, but nice. It's working out.
It's weird. And then I was watching like some YouTube videos trying to get like insights on it, and they were like, look at the camera like you're looking at somebody in the eyes. I'm like, that feels weird too. Yeah. Like that makes it weirder. Like I'm staring at this plastic thing trying to make it seem like I'm talking with someone. But yeah, and then I started cutting them like really short, man. I was like, what I'm going to try is just the fishing. Like show the spot, grab a couple of clips of me dragging that boat around or putting it wherever I'm putting it, put those together, and then what I'm filming as I go back and edit it, it's like the cast, the hook set. I always try to get the hook set really good, especially with bass fishing. You can freaking slam those things, and then try to keep them like 3 to 5 minutes. That was like my sweet spot I found. But I had a lot of fun, man, and literally filmed like 50 of those. But my goal always was to podcast, man, and use fishing as an avenue to film and try different things and explore Florida. But there's something about long form. So for my work, I've built teams, sales, operations, that kind of stuff for a couple of big companies. I've always interviewed people, had teams of people and just tried to connect, and I think that listening to a lot of podcasts and things, I'm like, shit, man, I want to give that a shot. So that's what this has been, the last 30. And dude, I've met some really great people, talked about all kinds of different things. So yeah, but it's long form, 2 hours. I've done some, man, that we've gone like 3 hours just talking about whatever comes up. And I'm not doing it to expect, people to sit there and listen to it for 3 hours, but sometimes, and I've gained, a lot of momentum doing things like building this studio and trying to focus more on like the things I'm interested to talk about, man, and using that as an avenue, but still filming fishing and surfing and all the other stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
And the good thing about a podcast too, is you don't like, if you're ever going to listen to a podcast, you don't have to sit down and dedicate that time to it, man. You can go to the gym and just have that in like one earbud and just work out the whole time, gather whatever you want from it.
Even driving too, because you probably cover a lot of miles fishing and stuff like that.
I listen to quite a few podcasts on the way here.
You can only listen to so much music. I say this all the time. Like I used to run some things down in Miami, so I'm driving back and forth, and like you can listen to music for a little bit, but after a while, like, man, I need something else to stimulate the brain. And that's where podcasts came in, man, probably like 10, 11 years ago. So I've seen podcasts like change from a couple people doing it to now it's an entire industry that people are making serious money at, and obviously opening up a lot of different doors. But it's been fun just trying to do it locally, meeting cool people in Cocoa Beach or in Orlando and just exploring like all kinds of stuff, man. I've had some like pro surfers come through here. I've had like a lot of MMA guys too. Like professional boxers are fun to talk to. Comedians are freaking really fun to just sit around and talk crap with for a few hours, man. So I'm kind of like you. I'm doing a mix, you know. I try some short stuff on there, some little bit medium range stuff, and then I throw, you know, 2-hour conversations out there too. But that's what's cool about YouTube is you can host all that in one spot, and if people dig it, cool. If not, you know, I'm having fun. That's sort of how selfishly I look at it. What's I've seen you in like a couple different boats. You have like do you have a Ginu? And
I do.
Yeah, and then some other boat too, right? I think you and your family were on recently. Maybe what kind of boats you rocking?
So my family has a. I think it's like a 19.6. I just call it 20. 20-foot Key Largo. Okay. I think it's like a 1991 or 96. That thing's running pretty smooth. We got a 115 two-stroke on it. Nice. So it just guzzles gas, but that's all right. Yeah. And then I got it's a 13-foot Ginu, high sider. I think it's a 2006. Nice. With a 2018 4-stroke 8-horse on it. Okay. And then it's a Yamaha. And then I got I think it's like a 55-pound thrust trolling motor on the front. And that gets me basically anywhere I need to go. I think it drafts in like 6 inches of water, so I can go back. Ozello is definitely a fun area to fish. Because
that's south of Crystal River? North?
That is just south of Crystal River, like literally not even maybe like a couple miles south.
Got it.
And that is just full of oyster bars, and it's like if you don't know where you're going, you're screwed.
So real shallow.
Most people don't even take boats out in there. It's mostly kayakers. But my boat is sort of like a mix of the two, like the best of both worlds, where I can go out far if I need. But especially during the wintertime when the fish are back in the back creeks, like backwater fishing, man, in that Ginu, it is a whole lot of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Nice, because you can get it in tight areas, and that 6-inch draft, and that thing is so stable, man. So I've been in one out here. The one snook I caught was out of a Ginu. A buddy of mine's got one, and he's a bigger guy. Not to offend you, Kirk, but you know he's a heavy set guy, right? He would say the same thing if he was here. But dude, we had to stand up and pass each other. We were switching spots in the boat, and that thing was as stable as standing on land, man. I couldn't believe how stable Ginus are.
Was it like a 16-footer, 15-4?
I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, but I was surprised at how stable it was and how it. Yeah, we were in way shallow water. Man, I think I want to get into a boat. You know, a lot of people think that too, but I gotta have one, man. I think that's my next move. Upgrading the studio is the big thing right now, but someday gotta be a boat. But I think the Ginu would be a good spot to start.
It is awesome. I think I got mine for just around, I think I got it for $3,000, like the trolling motor, the motor, and the boat, which is ridiculous. I never expected to get that. It was already a steal when they listed it at like $4,500, and I just went down on Facebook Marketplace and just lowballed every single person.
Really? And someone took it.
I ended up getting one, because they really needed to get rid of it. Nice. And I think I even got like a fish finder in with it. Sick. And it wasn't in perfect condition. I've done some work to it. I got some new paint on the interior, some new sea deck. I took out the center console because that thing was just killing me having to walk around it every single time I moved to the front of the boat. But I just had a company send me some LED lights too, so I'm gonna get it hooked up, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Cool, dude. Would you do anything else to it? Is there anything else on your wish list for that boat?
Let me think. Well, I do need a push pole type thing. I'm gonna hook it up on like maybe the right side, just have a rail that I snap it into. There's a tackle store near me called Blue Water Bait and Tackle, and they hand make them, and I think they sell them for it's like $150 or something, which usually they're a lot more expensive.
For a handmade push pole, that's not bad.
So
what about a power pole? Would that benefit you ever? Or?
I would love to have a power pole. I think it might sink my boat. So
why?
I mean, even taking like my little brother on that boat, man, that thing is it just sits a little deeper. I try to keep it like as light as possible so I can sit in the shallowest water possible. Right. So a power pole would be nice, but I think I'm going to use that push pole as like sort of double it as a stick anchor. I got on my trolling motor mount on the front of the boat. There's like a hole on the side that I think I could stick that thing down in and sort of anchor off. And then I can get rid of my normal anchor because that thing's a pain in the butt.
What do you got now?
13.
Just a normal?
It's like a 15-pound just like steel like anchor, like a kayak anchor almost.
Got it.
And that thing just gathers mud, man. It's annoying. So I'm thinking I'm going to get rid of that thing as soon as possible.
Nice. I like the idea of a power pole, man. even on my little John boat, like, and this would be sick just to be locked in because I don't have an anchor or anything on it. And I'm always playing the wind, especially when I don't have a motor. I kind of paddle upwind, let it drift me back because I don't have a trolling motor on that thing either. But sometimes I'd want to be locked into a spot. So I'll, bend or pull up a lily pad or something to stand on, or bend a tree over so I stand on that to keep me locked in a spot. But I think about that power pole that's like the kayak version. I think it's like a solar panel on it, so you don't have to carry a battery.
Wow.
Yeah, that one looks pretty cool. The ones they put on kayaks, but yeah, if you're too heavy, that probably wouldn't help you too much.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a kayak one. That might actually work on a Ginu if it's like just like clips on the back and if it has a solar panel.
Exactly.
Nice.
It looks like it's got a little solar piece on top of it, if I remember right. I haven't looked at them in a while, but then you don't have to carry a battery to it, which is sick.
No way.
Yeah. I think PowerPole, the company, actually makes them, but yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. But there's always things to spend money on.
There are always things.
That is the truth.
That's the beauty of fishing, is that I spend so much money on fishing products that I don't have enough for drugs and alcohol, man.
That's a way.
I'm living clean.
Living clean because all your money goes to fishing.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. Do you prefer, artificial or live bait? Does it just, do you do a bit, and you do a mix of both, but do you have a preference?
I do both. I love throwing artificial whenever I can. That is all I throw. Sometimes they're weird. They just don't want it.
Right.
In my mullet run video, I was there the day before fishing with Alexis Fishing YT. I think that's his name on Instagram.
Okay.
We went to Pay Beach and there were fish everywhere blowing up on these mullet, and there were like thousands of mullet all around us. We were stepping on them. They were going underneath our legs. But yeah, we were throwing artificial and they didn't want to bite because there was so much bait there that they wanted something different. And so having a bait, like a live bait sitting a little deeper, like underneath the school, the snook they'll swim underneath the schools and then eat like upwards. So if they see a mullet kind of struggling underneath the school, they're going to hammer that thing every single time. So switching to live bait was the right idea. In fact, I think that was the first or second cast I made with live bait that I hooked that snook.
Definitely a good idea.
Yeah, because I was seeing these snook patrolling under these schools, and you know where they are because the mullet don't want it to get anywhere near them. So there's just like a hole in the school. Like there's these thousands of bait fish and just a hole. And it's almost like those casting target practice things where you put a hula hoop out and try to pitch into it.
Sure.
It was identical to that because there's just this hole that you have to get your bait right into. And every time I would throw an artificial in there, either the mullet would spook or the snook would spook. They just weren't comfortable with it. But the first time I threw that mullet on top of that snook's head, I saw it coming up from the bottom, and I was like, oh man, he's looking at it, and he just hammered that thing. It was the biggest snook I ever caught.
That's legit. Do you have a weight on there, or were you weightless? Or
I didn't. I wish I did. I definitely would have probably gotten a better snook. There were a few down below.
Bigger than that one, you think?
I think so. There were some massive ones down there, man. But a lot of the times the snook, the bigger they get, I guess it's similar with largemouths. The bigger they get, the lazier they are, and they just want something right in their face. They don't want to work too hard for it. They're already following that school of mullet not thousands of miles, but very far down the beach.
Hundreds of miles for sure.
Yeah,
they probably
100%. So they don't want to work too hard for it, and especially when there's that many baits around them, they can eat any bait they want, so they want the easiest one possible. So if I put an egg sinker above that hook or something, had it sitting on the bottom, that would have gotten hit so easy.
Nice. I did some mullet run fishing down in just north of Sebastian. I didn't catch anything. I was throwing weightless, and then my uncle switched over, a little egg sinker on there, and he caught maybe a 38 somewhere around there, which was nice. He's always been surfing with him too, but he's been the one I'm like, man, I got to keep seeing what he's doing, follow him, because he's almost 70 now, man, but still out there. 2 years ago, they were fishing the mullet run, and FWC was sitting on the beach, and again, not to get anybody in trouble, this is public knowledge, they were keeping some stuff they shouldn't have, and but they caught so many fish, dude, that I think they each got, two of my uncles got $1,200 tickets or $1,500 tickets or something like that. Yeah, because at the time we had a beach house down in Sebastian, and they had them all up at the house, and he went up there and checked on them. I saw him. They were he was hiding in the bushes watching them. I thought that was a good story that they caught so many fish they had to pay $3,000 in fines. Just
FWC is just jealous. They want to catch fish like that, man.
That's it, man. They wish they were eating good. What's your favorite fish to eat, man?
So far, cobia has been my
Okay.
absolute favorite.
Really?
I ate cobia once. We went out offshore fishing. I didn't catch the cobia, and I didn't have a camera rolling. We went out with our friends. I think they caught like 2 or 3. They let us keep one, and it is phenomenal.
Really?
I mean, yeah, the flake on them and everything, the color, the texture, it's just perfect.
I never had it, man.
It is. It's definitely worth it. I don't think you can buy it commercially.
Like snook.
Similar to snook,
Yeah.
which is why probably they're so popular.
Yeah.
Cobia is fantastic, and triple tail is one thing that I haven't eaten it, but every single person I talk to says that that's the absolute best.
Yeah, I've had it. And then a restaurant up the street here called the Fat Snook. They have triple tail. The chef, man, she's like 22. She's from New York. They've been on here, both the owner and the chef.
Oh, awesome.
But the triple tail up there, apparently, I haven't had it there yet. I've had a few good things from there, but yeah, triple tail supposedly is where it's at.
I feel like it's always the lazier fish that taste better because they're just sitting there, just like sitting in their own juices. Because like the tile fish is another one that I hear is real good. They sit out in like 2,000 feet of water, and they bury themselves in the mud, and they just wait, and they wait for stuff to float by, and they eat it. And that's apparently some of the best eaten fish out there.
Nice.
But yeah, the triple tail, man, they'll just find a floating bucket and just sit in that bucket, and they're just sitting there waiting for stuff to drift by, a little bait fish, a shrimp.
That's kind of back to the manatees probably tasting good because of how lazy
I know, right?
they probably taste good too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do.
Nice, man. Do you do much freshwater fishing still, or mostly on the salt side? Or
not
you've
much.
Been catching some peacock bass too.
Yeah, that's probably the only kind of freshwater fishing I would do is either like kind of brackish or peacocks for sure. That was something I've been wanting to get on for a long time.
Nice.
I mean, going back to like watching YouTube videos when I was little, like peacock bass, they're just the most wild looking like rainbow fish. I was like, man, I want to get on one of those things. So last year I went down to the Everglades, or no, that wasn't last year, that was like earlier this year. I went down to the Everglades and I didn't catch any peacocks, but I was throwing little crappie jigs and I killed the Mayan cichlids and the Oscars, and that was a ton of fun.
Nice.
But yeah, the peacocks was one thing that I was like, man, I gotta get back here, I gotta get on them. And sure enough, right when I started that catching every fish in Florida thing, the big man bassing, he commented on one of my videos. He was like, hey, let me know when you want to come down to Cape Coral, like I'll help you catch some peacocks. And when I went down for Skipper's peacock bass tournament, I got the peacocks, the jaguar cichlid, and I think it was the Oscar was the other one. I still haven't caught one on camera yet. I haven't caught a Mayan cichlid yet on camera for that little series, but that was a ton of fun. That was probably one of my favorite videos I ever made, was going down the Everglades.
Nice,
catching
man.
them up.
Dude, I missed, as much as I've been in South Florida, I never fished down there.
Really?
And again, peacock bass is one that I've watched a bunch of videos on, love to get into it, but just haven't put the time into tracking them down, honestly. But that would be a lot of fun, peacock bass.
They're a hard fish to find, too.
Really?
When I went down there, I fished all the way up and down Highway 41. And I was definitely there at the wrong time of year. I heard that they would be bedding kind of toward April, March. So I went down there and it was just too early for them.
Nice.
I was fishing spillways and stuff, and it was just dead. But I know, like, kind of early summer, they get quite a few peacocks on Highway 41 and tarpon and snook as well.
Really?
So next year I will definitely be getting on this. It sounds
man.
like fun.
Dang, if you could get all three in one go, man, that would be fun. That would be a good time.
Dude, the Everglades
the The Everglades is wild, man. I've only ever driven around it and cut through like Alligator Alley and stuff. We do some motorcycle rides. I've ridden motorcycles down there and stuff too. But yeah, it's a different world down there, man.
It is.
Pretty cool though. Pretty cool.
I would love to do some of the it's called herping, like snake catching. That's a better word for it.
For like pythons?
Pythons. They got some like wild water snakes and stuff down there. Do you know who herping? Yeah, because herpetology is the study of snakes. Like that's their like Latin name, like herp. I don't know. But
I'm going with it.
But yeah, there's a guy, Fishin' Garrett is his name. I think he has almost 9 million followers now.
Oh, dang.
Just from he goes out in the Everglades and he says like, "What's up, guys? I'm in the Florida Everglades and I found this swamp puppy," and he holds up an alligator and he's like, "Yeah, it's tried to nip at me, but I got the best of it." Like,
nice swamp puppy,
dude. That just sounds like fun, man. I'd love to go down there and just catch all the weird like chameleons and stuff at night. Like,
there's all kinds of cool stuff down there, and even like the iguana iguanas that are taking over. I hear like a lot of people, there's some videos of dudes going on like golf courses and tracking them down. Supposedly they taste good too. There's like an iguana foot recipe somebody was telling me about once. Sounds good. I'd eat anything, man. I definitely would try iguana.
I would love to try iguana. I hear it's just like chicken but leaner.
Okay.
You probably need to like tenderize it or something. But yeah, iguana legs is one thing that I've heard is like phenomenal.
Oh, man. You ever eaten frog legs?
I haven't. I would love to. I would eat basically anything if it was like, I don't know, as long as it's food.
Right.
That's where I draw the line.
That's your caveat. Gotta be food. Yeah. But I mean, there's something too, I think, primal about fishing is why sometimes people enjoy it. Again, it's the challenge, it's the fun of it too, but also, you know, a little while back, that's how we got a lot of food, man, to feed our families, to feed ourselves. So I think there's something to it there that keeps me interested in it, especially the saltwater side, you know, trying to get more comfortable catching things that you can then take home and feed the family, because I just never done that, man. Always been surfing over here on the saltwater side. But yeah, and my son eats everything, man. He would eat anything we brought home, he would try, which is cool. But I got to get into it, man. You're convincing me. More and more. I got to spend more time. Yeah.
My favorite part about the saltwater fishing is just how many different kinds of fish there are out there. Like freshwater fishing, down here you can catch bass, you can catch bluegill. If you go down south, you can catch peacocks and snakeheads. That's probably like what I would be interested in. You know, up north you got pike, you got muskie, all the like wiper, all that fun stuff. But saltwater fishing, man, you can go out, you can like throw a piece of shrimp, you can catch like 30 different species of fish and they'll all be different, and it's just
a mystery, man, of what's gonna come.
Exactly. Like when you hook a big fish, you don't know what you hooked until you reel that thing in. And that's a lot of like what excites me about especially like wintertime fishing in Ozello, because there's just you like the water's crystal clear and you see some wild stuff just like cruising underneath your boat. There will be dolphins like crashing on redfish out there and stuff. Like it is just it feels like you like step back in time to where you're like in the middle of nowhere, and it's just very, very primal.
That's cool.
There was a time where it was like one of my first times going out there, and it was the first real fish I hooked out there. And it was a big redfish, and it was just pulling drag. It almost spooled me, and I was like, because I was throwing like a little, like maybe 2,500 or something, and I had no idea how much drag to use, but it was just crazy. Like that was like, looking back, that's probably one of my favorite fish I've caught.
Really?
It was probably like a 25-inch red, which isn't now that I've caught some bigger ones, that's like I kind of know how they fight.
Sure.
But, dude,
at the time.
It was awesome.
I think the longest I've ever seen someone fight a fish was my uncle. It was a tarpon off the beach, man.
Wow.
It was huge, dude. And back then people still dragged them in and held them and stuff. Isn't there some rules to tarpons now? You're not supposed to, especially like the bigger ones.
Over 40 pounds. Yeah, you're not allowed to take them out.
Take it out of the water. That's what I've seen a lot of videos now, people holding them differently, or, you know, not even really holding them at all, you know. But back then, I was little, man. I was probably 13, maybe 12. He drags one in the beach. I swear he fought that thing for 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes to get it in, pull and drag, tiring it out. But I remember the photo now. It comes to my mind of him carrying it on the beach. But yeah, that's the fun part of it, throwing it out there, not sure what you're going to get. You know, I never caught a redfish, man. That'd be fun too, to track them down. Are they like snook, where in the wintertime they're going to push into like shallower areas?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, most fish are like that, where they'll go out really far out deep, which typically those will be like some of your deeper water fish. They're not going to be those like inshore fish like snook, redfish, tarpon. Typically during the wintertime, the fish want to stay as warm as possible.
Which would be the shallower water.
Which it's they don't like the shallow water, because the shallow water is like that's going to change. The temperature is going to change the most.
Oh, okay.
They want a very consistent temperature. They don't want to move a whole lot. And muddy bottom holds heat quite a bit better than like grass. So they'll go in the backwater as far as they can go, and then they'll sit in holes. That's where they like in the deepest water possible, in the shallowest water possible. Basically, it's weird.
Okay.
But yeah, that's why I love Ozello, and like the area I live in is great for wintertime fishing, because the backwater fishing is great. There's all these little creeks and all these little nooks and crannies they can hide in.
Perfect for the Ginu, man.
Oh yeah,
perfect.
Man, I'm gonna slay them this winter. I'm excited. I'm excited.
You convinced the family to move to a good spot, man. That's freaking awesome.
I sure hope so, man.
Nice. Or they'll hold it against you.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Anything that goes wrong, they're like, Eli, it's all your fault, man. You got us to move here. Yeah.
Were they blaming the hurricanes on you too?
Yep.
Really?
Exactly. I'm kidding. Yeah. actually, I have a friend named Helene, and I got all the jokes out of my system before the hurricane even hit.
Nice.
Because I was like, this is all your fault, Helene. Come on, why are you coming to Florida right now?
I have never heard that name until the hurricane. Is Helene a girl? Yeah.
She is a girl.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I heard recently a buddy of mine was telling me that all the women named storms are worse than the male named storms. I was like, what? But I was like, give me a little more context of what you're saying. And he rattled off like 7 or 8 names of female named storms that did a lot more damage, man. So for what it's worth, the gender of the hurricane name determines how much damage it does. Not fact checked either. Just throwing that out there.
I guess women are a little more stormy, more moody, Right?
Hey, Eli said that, not me. But depends on the time of the year.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. We don't need to elaborate on that one. No, I'm joking. So how many species have you got on camera now, man?
I think I have 13 so far. I've filmed more, but I haven't. I'm trying to use newer footage for those. I don't want to go back and use old footage for those videos.
That makes sense.
I'm looking forward to getting on like sheep's head and some better wintertime fish during the winter.
Nice.
I'm trying to think of what to catch next, really. That's a hard question. You think there's so many fish until you're getting out there, and it's like I'm only used to catching those inshore species.
Sure.
But there are some fish that are going to be a little easier, like pufferfish, lizardfish. Lizardfish, that's probably going to be the one I knock off next.
Really?
It's going to be the easiest.
Dude, you're rattling off fish names I've never even heard of.
Really?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real. I just haven't dove into the salt as much. Part of naming the channel SaltyFresh was to eventually get to the point of spending time in fresh and salt water. But not just fishing, man. A lot of stuff I do. I'm surfing. We do a lot of skiing in the fresh water too. A lot of stuff behind the boat and things too. But that was the idea of eventually being able to put out videos of freshwater and saltwater, fishing and things that we're catching. So, yeah, you've convinced me, man. That was really the goal here.
You're of spend all your money on a guinea now.
Yeah,
I convinced you.
You convinced me to find one on Facebook Market for $3,000.
For $3,000, you got to lowball everybody. Yeah,
I'm gonna take that tactic. And I think Ginus are made right up in Titusville. I think. I think the guy that I've messaged him a few times. I think that family's right up the street here.
Really? Yeah, dude, I gotta check them out. I gotta become friends with them so I can get some free stuff, man.
That's what's cool about just the fishing industry in general. And you've mentioned a lot of people that have reached out to you or invited you to do different things. And I did one like that down in the headwaters for bass fishing down here in just north of Okeechobee, obviously, but it was this guy messaged me, small water charters, and he does this thing where he brings people down and compete against his wife. She gets the front of the bass boat, whoever's there gets on the back, and she smoked me, man. For a while I was catching more fish, and then as the day turned, she was catching just monster ones, man.
You can never compete in fishing. You can never compete against women and people who've never fished before.
True.
Because they're always the luckiest. It's the same when I go out fishing with my brother, I always make jokes like, man, we shouldn't have taken him out here because he catches all the fish.
Oh, man. The one that doesn't care as much,
No, exactly. Yep. He was like not sure if he wanted to come or not. He came kind of reluctantly, and then he's the one catching all the fish.
Never fails. But I think there is something too, obviously there's a lot of skill that goes into it. And listening to you talk, man, you're real knowledgeable about it. But then there's some luck to it as well. Like a lot of things in life, it's a mix. It's a mix of being in the right spot at the right time and just probably being lucky too. Knowing what you're looking for.
That's the beauty of it, man. It's always something new going out there. You're never it's hard to get bored going out because there's just always something new to get on, I guess.
Yeah, and that's cool about the saltwater side. Like you said, all those different species keep you engaged and entertained. How long do you think it'll take, man? Do you have a goal of how fast you want to catch everything, or does that not even cross your mind?
Yeah, so catching every fish, I've sort of accepted it's probably never going to happen, right? Like catching every fish, it's a good goal. It's a little ambitious if you ask me.
Sure.
I guess I'm the one who makes the rules, so I don't know. But for me, it's just a good way of making steady content. It's hard to make consistent content when what you do is so inconsistent. Like you go out fishing, you have no idea if you're going to catch something or not.
Right.
And it's hard to take off like especially like taking time off work really to go fishing, especially when you end up not catching anything. So it's definitely an easier way to make like steady content to where even if I don't go out and catch a bunch of fish and make a long video, as long as I catch one fish and it's like something weird, something new, I can make a video about that.
And give you something to put out there. That's a smart way to look at it, because you can get all kinds of content if you're out there filming, obviously targeting certain things. But that was my downfall, and it seems like the YouTube algorithm is more about consistency in a lot 100%. Of ways too. So dude, I took like a year off where I didn't post any podcasts. I took like 2 years off where maybe I didn't do any fishing videos, and then it's just like, you know, kind of the trap you fall into. It's just like I put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it, and then I realized like maybe I need to put time, energy, and effort into all kinds of things. So it's a lot of stuff we talk about on here is the balance of what you do with your time, you know, working to make money. And, you know, I don't think you have a family yet. You know, you have your family, but not a family yet. But, you know, that takes a lot of time, as it should. But you can get them involved in a lot of that stuff too. You still got to have time for you.
100%.
Yeah. So what's next, man? What's the big goals for you? Anything that you're working on now?
Definitely. The number one thing is gonna be upgrading sort of the quality of my content. I want to get a real camera. I need a mic because wind noise has just been killing me lately. Especially,
what kind of mic are you using now?
Nothing. Just the camera on my head.
Really?
And having it on my head is nice because you get that like first person POV, which a lot of people like. But also there's nothing like if I had it on my chest, there's nothing blocking the wind from it. So if I turn my head or something, you get all that noise. So I'm looking to get the DJI Mic 2, just the transmitter, and maybe a wire that can connect up to my shirt or something to kind of cut out that wind noise. And then of course I want to get a camera, and a drone is another thing that would be really cool. I think the DJI, I love DJI. All their products are pretty great.
Nice.
I wish I was sponsored. It'd be pretty cool. But maybe I get the drone.
You never know, man.
Right?
You never know. Yeah.
But the mini, it's the DJI Mini 4 Pro. That's the one I'm looking at, and it is all the captains on Kings Bay. They all use those to like look for manatees. So I've definitely heard good things about them.
Nice.
And they're just user friendly, which is probably the number one thing I'm looking for. Because like I said, I am terrible with technology, man. Even like video editing, I try. I'm not great at it. But I just need something easy to use, and just like getting extra B-roll would be nice. Just like clips to roll over videos of me talking or something, so it's not just people looking at my face the whole time.
Sure.
And I just definitely trying to like make my content more interesting. That's going to be the number one thing.
Nice, man.
But
that's an exciting side of it too, is if you like a little bit of technology. I have a love-hate for it. You know, I like some aspects of it because I think it's cool, but I guess I more hate cell phones more than anything.
Me too.
But I think we were better off without them. That's my opinion.
100%.
It is fun to kind of dive into cameras and mics and just sort of enjoy that side of it too. But again, it could be an expensive hobby. But I've looked at that drone as well. I think it's like something like $800 or something.
I think it's $800. Yeah. And the package I'm looking at it's got the remote and all like everything you could ever need. And I think it's around $1,200, which is a lot for a drone, especially when you're flying it over water. I have to take baby steps to get it out there.
But I think the DJI side of it is so user friendly. You know, I had a drone maybe like 7 years ago. I forget the company, man, but I was smashing that thing into buildings and trying to learn how to fly it. And I was like, dude, or getting it caught in a tree or something. Well, as that technology has changed, you know, it can kind of eliminate some of those things on its own. You know, it can pick up its surrounding, it can take off and come back to the same exact points you set it. So there's a lot of change in that side of technology too, which is cool. You know, keeps it interesting to try to stay in tune with.
I'll definitely try.
Man. I'm like you though. I'm not a dinosaur. Would you call yourself a dinosaur?
I'm an old man.
An old man towards it. Yeah. I think that's simpler. You know, if you get too much caught up in technology, I don't know. Life's too short as it is, man.
Right. Be a little easier.
No,
right?
That's
no
ridiculous.
Way, man.
Nah, dude. You're a smart guy, man. You're an intelligent guy. Like,
I appreciate it.
Don't let that. Let that.
And I'm like I said, I'm an old man, man.
Stay that way. I think that's been a secret of my life is you know, being an old soul, as they call it. You know, a lot of people said that along the way. But what the heck are you eating, man? How much you weigh?
I weigh, I think it's 187 now.
You're pretty tall too.
I'm very tall. My maintenance calories, it's quite a bit. I think it's like 3,200, 3,300. So I've had a really hard time gaining weight. Especially, I mean, I've been working out for probably 2.5, 3 years. Okay. And I've barely, not much to show for it. And that's just because I couldn't get myself to eat enough. But recently I figured out just like a simpler way to kind of mentally do it. And all it is just eating like 500 to 1,000 calories every 2 hours. And that has been helping me out so much. I think I've gained 10 pounds in the last couple months. Nice. And I'm just hoping to keep going up, get my bench up. That'd be nice.
Nice, man. But your metabolism is still, I'm sure, very high, and you're out there, you're active, you're moving around, so that's going to help too. But yeah, my gaining of weight came, dude, not until I was in my 20s. I could eat all day, lift too, and just try to get as big as I could. But not until I got into my 20s was I able to hold muscle a little bit better once that metabolism slows down a little bit. But so what, you like to lift, like to bench a little bit, or what are you doing there?
My brother has a lifting account. I think he got 20,000 followers a couple of years ago. But yeah, I've been going to the gym for a while. I go to a place called Epic Health and Fitness in Crystal River. Okay. And I love lifting. I'm really into it. It's definitely hard when I have a couple things going. I got work, I got fishing, and trying to fit it in is a little bit weird. Yeah. But I try to make it work. I'll usually go to the gym before work in the morning. Nice. So I'll wake up at 4 and then go to the gym, end up, I don't know. It's a lot, but it keeps me going.
And it's a good hobby for longevity. A lot of stuff we talk about on here. And again, I'm 36, so I'm trying to stay as healthy and moving for as long as I can. It seems like a good goal in life is to move for as long as you can. But I think you got to find a way of changing it up too. A lot of people get stuck in the same routine and then they get tired of it, but I mix it up, and I do a lot of kettlebell stuff now. I'm back to Olympic lifting a little bit. I don't do much bench press. I do some dumbbell bench, I guess, just for a little bit. But yeah, I'm back in weight gain mode myself. I'm trying to get to 200 pounds for the first time ever. I'm 197 right now. My buddy was like, just eat 3 pounds of chicken wings, it'll be no problem. But dude, I have not been able to find these last 3 pounds, and I'm eating a lot of protein, man. I pretty much eat just plants and animals. I try to keep it as simple as possible. And I'm eating a little more bread. I went through that phase where no bread, try to eat less sugar. And then I was doing fasting too, did a little bit of intermittent fasting for a few years. I was 185 in January when I went to San Diego on a surf trip, but I tried to lean out, man. I was running 3 days a week. I was rucking at least 1 day a week with 50 pounds on, just so I could get out there and surf all day for 3 straight days, which was still hard to do even with all that training. But yeah, I'm 12 pounds up from January. So I've been eating and lifting and just trying to put weight on for the winter myself.
That's awesome.
Thicken up for the winter here.
Yeah, if I want to survive, man. It gets cold. Nobody realizes how cold it gets in Florida. Yeah. But yeah, we had a day last year, it was 18 degrees or something in the morning. And going out, the water's steaming. The water stays the same temperature, which it's nice when you get in. But getting out is the
worst part, man. Yeah.
Running 3 tours a day, it's gonna be a lot.
Damn, you're doing 3 tours a day over there?
Yeah, on a good day. Yeah, during manatee season, it's gonna be 3 tours a day basically every single day. I'm gonna try to rake in as much as I can and spend it all on a drone, I guess.
Nice, really. There you go. Yeah. So season you make more money, I'm assuming, 100%. During that time of year.
Yeah, there's just more work. Everybody wants to swim with the manatees during the winter.
I didn't even know that was the thing.
Most people don't.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, we have even locals in Crystal River. They've been living there 30, 40 years. They have no idea they have no idea that you're allowed to swim with them.
No, I always thought it was harassing them like you were talking about. When I held on to that one, again, I was little. I was I didn't want anybody to see me, or know that that's what I was
FWC?
Doing. Alleged.
Plug your ears.
Alleged. Yeah. There's a statute of limitations. It's been over 20 years, man. So I think I'm good. on that. Maybe not. No.
I don't know.
No, man. No. Well, that's cool, man. Anything else that we didn't talk about? I know we've been kind of a lot of topics, man. Anything else you want to bring up?
Been all over the place. That's what I like, though. That's what I like on a podcast.
That's the point, dude. Is just have a conversation. How often, and maybe you do more than others, but do you just sit down and talk with people? Do we never met? We didn't discuss what we were going to talk about, right? Yeah. It's fun to just do that. I think, again, back to technology, is we spend a lot of time, emails, text messages, those kind of things. Sometimes you miss out on just connecting with people in this way. So this is a good excuse to keep doing that.
Oh, yeah.
What was your perception of people from Florida? I like to ask this from people that you've been here now. How many years?
I've been here, I think it's close to 2 or 3 years.
Okay,
now.
2 or 3 years. What was your perception of Floridians at the time?
My perception was probably a little bit different than most in California. I had been watching. I was just, every free moment I had, I was spending it watching videos in Florida. I was like dreaming of living here.
Nice.
So I thought everybody was wearing, the sun shirts and the hats and the glasses, and they all had. Everybody has a boat, which I guess is kind of true here.
Yeah.
I mean, like
a lot of
everybody's got a boat. Yeah. But I think in California, the general perception is that everywhere is Fort Lauderdale, like everywhere.
Oh, okay, like South Florida vibes.
Lots of palm trees, lots of old folks. Which again, it's not wrong.
No, they're not wrong. A lot of retirees and all, especially on the West Coast too. A lot of pockets of people over there. But yeah.
But I think most people don't realize how wild Florida is. Really, I mean, we have more like cattle property in Florida than we do in any other state. Yep. We got a big cattle business here. Yeah. But yeah, just lots of trees, lots of greenery. It's very. It seems almost like untouched, which a lot of the country is not. Sure. It's a lot of corn. I've been all over. It's
those
it's a lot of corn.
Flyover states. There's not a lot happening out there. I mean, more so in some of them now. But yeah, a lot of corn, which we need.
We do.
We need that kind of stuff.
We make a little bit too much of it, but it's okay. All the high fructose corn syrup. That's where it comes from, man. Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah. Dude, you're a very intelligent guy. I'll say that again. I was not thinking about that kind of stuff when I was 17, but you're right, man. There's a lot of different things in America. Have you ever been out of the country at all?
I have. Yeah. I have. I've been to I've been to Canada.
Okay.
And I guess Alaska's part of the country.
Yeah. You've been to Alaska?
I have.
What'd you do up there?
Looking at bears, basically. Nice. That was a lot of it.
Nice.
Driving to a spot to fish, my dad would get out of the car, say, "Nope, there's a grizzly bear," and then go to the next spot. Exact same story.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had friends that lived up there.
Cool.
One of our friends, which is actually where I got the idea to pursue a marine biology thing, which I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah. But our friend is a wildlife biologist, and she was living up there with her husband, and they were just looking at bears, man. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
That's cool.
But yeah, just a lot of fishing. I think we got there right after the salmon run, which was a little disappointing because that's like what I imagined in Alaska, just like the river just full of sockeye salmon and just
migrating.
Cast a line in there, wait 2 seconds, reel it up, you got a fish.
Damn, it wasn't quite like that.
It was not quite like that. I did get on some like trash fish, some sculpin and some dollies, but
another fish I've never heard of.
Yeah,
sculpin and dollies. Huh?
Sculpin are weird, man. It's like it's almost like an oyster. What's it called? An oyster rockfish. Is that what they're called? What are those? I'm trying to think of what they're called. We have them in Florida. I caught a lot of them at the inlet. Not Stewart.
Jupiter or.
What's the one kind of south of that? I'm blanking. I know the name of
Jupiter's down
it has
there.
An S.
Sebastian.
Yeah, Sebastian.
Yeah.
There are these like rockfish things. They just look like a toadfish, oyster toadfish.
Okay. Yep.
Those things they look just like them. It just looks like a rock on the bottom. But yeah, they're just these weird looking fish. They blend in. They're crazy. And the dollies, I would almost sort of correlate them with a ladyfish. They're very similar. There's some differences, but they're a lot alike.
Nice, man. Nice. You gonna do any fishing while you're over here today, or what's your goals for today?
I don't think so.
No,
I didn't bring a rod with me. I was thinking about it.
Dang, man.
I was thinking about maybe hitting some freshwater spots on the way home. But my Gnu carburetor, I gotta clean it. It's not idling. It's really weird. So gotta get home and fix it.
Nice, man. Yeah. Nice. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming in. It was a lot of fun to meet you. Dude, it's just a cool story, man. You're out there having fun and chasing a new dream that maybe you're after here a little bit, trying to explore Florida, and just really cool story, man. And you got a bright future, man. You're a smart guy.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in, man. We'll do this again if you ever want to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sweet, man. Appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Nice
we got
to
a
meet
fish
you, man.
too. Nice to meet you.
Oh yeah, totally. Got to go surfing, man.
That's that. Dang, man.
All right.
How was that?
That was awesome. First podcast. It went pretty
What'd you
well, I
think?
think. I don't think I bombed too bad today.
No, you did great, man. Honestly, we talked about all kinds of different stuff, and dude, it was pretty smooth, right? Nothing to worry about.
Not at all.
Dude, I get nervous before them. A lot of people come in way nervous, dude. And I'm like, it's all right, calm down, like it'll be okay.
Yep.
Yeah, man. But I tell people.